Peace. What's the word, everybody? Give everybody a chance to tap in with the kid before we start building on the subject matter for the day. Hopefully, hopefully y'all having a powerful Tuesday thus far. It's the last day of the month of May. So we're gonna end this month. We're gonna talk about y'all see the subject matter. Y'all see the title, man. We talking about the celebration of life, how to cope with death, man, with the loss of a loved one. So we're gonna build on the science of all of that, man, and why you should celebrate the life and not so-called mourn the death and things along those lines, man. We don't have time for that mourning. We don't have time to be sad and depressed about it. So we're gonna build on how to deal with death, how to cope with it, how to accept it, and how to keep it pushing. I know we didn't all experience some form of tragedy when it comes to the loss of a loved one, man. So we gotta, at the end of the day, it's inevitable. People are not gonna be here forever, man. So this is something that I feel like we need to discuss, and I feel like this is something that we have to learn how to cope with and how to deal with. Because I've witnessed people not be able to deal with the death of a loved one, and it essentially led to their untimely demise. Luke, Beast by Bless Zone Out. Peace, what's happening? Magic for sure. Yeah. My granny, she passed back in 2019. Man, they have this program for, every year around her B day. So that's what I was attending this past weekend. But yeah, she passed in 2019. So she been going for about 3 years now. Going on 3 years. She passed October of 2019. Seemed like it was yesterday, but hey, peace, what's happening? Airview peace, what's the word? But yeah, we're gonna build on the science of coping with death, man. I feel like I'm one of the ones that handle death fairly well, and I don't feel like I just say that. Like I've never really cried at funerals, things along those lines, and I've lost a lot of close fa- family members, especially here recently. I've lost a lot of close ones, but I don't tend to cry at funerals, man, because I feel like, I view death, what we say returning to the essence, I view that a lot differently than most, and I actually put it into practice when it's time to deal with or face death. Jeff Peace, what's happening? And again, this is one of those topics that a lot of people don't want to talk about. When it comes to talking about death, like this is similar to talking about life insurance. Like, black folks especially, we don't want to have these conversations. But this is one of the only things that's guaranteed in life. It's one of the only things that's guaranteed. You're going to face death in some way, shape, or form. And we all going to face it for ourselves personally. So this is one of the things that's guaranteed. Why not learn how to deal with it? Why not learn how to cope with it? Why not learn how to push forward when you got to deal with it? It's inevitable, man. People are not going to be around forever, especially if you have elders above you. The way that this thing is supposed to go is you're supposed to outlive them. So there's going to come a point in time in your life where those people that's above you right now, they're not going to be here. This is how it's supposed to go. They not supposed to outlive you. So at the end of the day, man, we got to learn how to push forward. And I know a lot of people are afraid of the inevitable. So then when the inevitable happens, since they didn't prepare themselves for it, now they don't know how to push forward because they was too dependent on the people that were here. And when they are no longer here, then guess what? Now they can't keep living. They can't keep pushing because their dependency is gone. So again, man, we got to stop attaching ourselves and being dependent upon these people, man, because again, that's the only thing that's guaranteed. We gonna die. Somebody's gonna die. Somebody's not gonna be here, man. So you gotta learn how to deal with that, man. It's a harsh reality, but it is what it is. Shantae, peace, queen, what's happening? Calvin, peace, what's the word? But like I said, especially when it comes to the elders, man, you supposed to outlive your parents. You supposed to outlive your grandparents, your great grandparents. I'm not saying you supposed to sit there and be excited when they pass, but at the end of the day, that's how it's supposed to go. So if you got a grandparent, man, they lived a long life and they did what they were supposed to do and they raised their children right, then we good. We carrying on the legacy. That's the whole point of this thing that we call life, carrying on the legacy. That's what they mean by the energy can't be created nor destroyed. Like when their physical deteriorates, then they living on through us. That's what that means. They had children. Their children had children. Like that's the legacy. That's the energy being transferred. That's what that is. Again, y'all know I don't deal with anything when it comes to spirits and all of that. Like I said, the way energy is being passed down is through the children, through the children's children, through the work they left behind. That's what's being passed down. That's the legacy. That is how they continue to live on. That is how the energy doesn't die. It's just transforming. That's that. But as far as the physical going, like the physical is going to essentially and inevitably deteriorate, and it's going to no longer be here. So again, a lot of times we are attached to the physical presence of a person, and that's what leads to the suffering. So we attach to that physical presence, man. Again, y'all hear me talk about detachment all the time. You have got to detach yourself from that physical presence of that individual, and that's how you would better be able to cope with the loss of a loved one. Again, all of it stems from attachment. You attach to that physical presence. Literally, that's it. And that's just unrealistic to be overly attached to a physical presence of a person, because at the end of the day, you know that that physical presence is not going to always be present. You overly attached to the physical presence of a grandparent. They 80, they 90. What do you think is going to essentially happen? They not going to live forever, man. So you got to prepare yourself by slowly detaching from their physical presence. I know that sounds harsh, but that's what you must do. Because again, they in their 80s, they in their 90s. It sounds good to feel like they gonna always be here, but that's not the reality of the situation. That's not the reality. If you got a grandparent, man, like my grandfather, dude is approaching 91. It's like, man, to make it to 91 is an accomplishment, especially in this day and age. Anything after that 90 is almost like a bonus. So it's like, man, he did what he was supposed to do, man. A life well lived here. You know what I'm saying? And he continuing to push on. So it's all good. Like when you looking at your elders and you looking at your folks, the people that's older than you, when you looking at their lives and you be like, man, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They fulfilled their mission. They fulfilled their purpose. They raised their children right. And that their children are moving right and exact. And their children are raising us right. Then it's like, man, it's all good. The legacy continues. The legacy continues. Montel, peace, what's happening? Magic for sure, man. I'd have had a few people, and I'm talking about I done seen some rough deaths, But like I say, I feel like I handle it well. And I truly not even believe, man, like honestly, when people return to the essence, with all of the suffering that goes on in our day-to-day lives, man, I honestly feel like people are really truly at peace, depending on what type of life they live. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not getting into any afterlife theories or whatnot, but I truly feel like when the physical deteriorates, man, that person is literally at peace, man. It's a lot of suffering that goes on, man. If they was living a rough life, if they went through a lot of suffering while they was here on earth, then it's like, man, when I'm seeing them, when the physical deteriorates, I'm looking at them like, man, it seems like they at peace to me. I truly feel like they at peace, man. Especially if they went through a hard life and now it's over with. I truly look at them like, man, they at peace, man. They deserve this rest. And that's how I view my granny situation. She was a very helpful person. She helped a lot of people. That was her life's work, to help people. So when I saw her, I'm like, man, all right, it looked like she really at peace. She did what she was supposed to do, and now it's time for her to get her rest, And that's how I felt. That's how I continue to feel. So I wasn't looking at it like sad. Oh, she should still be here. That's my selfish thinking. That's selfish thinking. Like, nah, she fulfilled her purpose, man, and it was that time. It was time. It was time. Lorenzo, peace. What's happening? Jazz, peace. CEO, peace. What's the word? CNP for sure. Yeah, my granny passed in October of 2019. October of 2019. And then, man, it's just a lot of things too revolve around lifestyle choices too. And again, this may sound harsh, but when I'm analyzing a person, whether it's a family member, friend, somebody I don't know, and they pass in a way that could have been prevented, that could have easily been prevented, then it's like I'm looking at that logically. Like they could have made some lifestyle changes and they chose not to. So I'm not about to stress myself out over that particular situation. Now, again, sounds harsh, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, it is what it is, man. Like, again, we got this one life to live, man. We can't spend it stressing, worrying about things that we can't control. That's how you gonna end up physically in the same grave as the person that you stressing about. So at some point you got to realize that, man, people gonna make choices. People gonna make choices, whether it's unconsciously or whether it's consciously, man. People gonna make choices. And if you analyzing the life of a person and they ultimately making choices that's gonna lead them to an early grave, then so be it, man. It's not much that you can do in regards to that, man. You can't force anybody to do anything, man. So if you did your best, if you did your duty, you threw the information out there and the person didn't properly receive it, and they continue to make choices that ultimately led them to an early grave, then hey, it is what it is, man. You can't be feeling guilty. I've watched that. I've seen people have family members that passed, and the person felt guilty, felt like they could have did more to prevent the situation. No, that's not on you. It's not on you at all. So you should never feel that way. You should never feel that way, man. You should never feel that way. I know too many people that feel that way. Listen, what y'all got to understand about some people, again, choices. Man, they gonna do what it is that they want to do. They gonna do what they want to do. Like at the end of the day, that's how that goes, man. If they want to eat certain foods, they gonna eat these certain foods. If they want to harm themselves, they gonna harm themselves. It's not much that you can do to prevent or stop that. Trust me, I've been there, done that. I done had family members on that end of the stick to where it's like we done told you how much we need you here, how much we care about you, and it's like at the end of the day, they hearing what you saying, but they got this seed planted. Like, all right, cool. I'm still gonna do what it is that I want to do. I'm still gonna inflict this harm on myself. Been there, done that. When they got their minds made up, they gonna follow through. It's not much that you can do. So what? Don't feel guilty. Don't feel like, oh, I could have did more. No, you did. You did just enough. You did just enough, man. And even if you listen, even if you didn't go out of your way to try to help them, again, it's really still not your responsibility at the end of the day. And that's just truly a fact. Because, like I said, man, we all got our things that we got to wrestle with and deal with on a day-to-day basis, man. It's selfish for another person to feel like that's your responsibility to dig them out of a hole, mentally and or physically. That's no one else's responsibility, man. We got to stop doing that. Even if you think somebody is a strong individual, a lot of times I get that, because people view me as a strong individual, so they just feel like they could throw a bunch of things my way, and I'm supposed to just go out of my way to give them information and help them. But it's like, no, that's really not my responsibility, man. If I choose to say no, then I'm not gonna feel guilty because I didn't give you some information to help you. Like, nah, maybe I wasn't in the right mental space. So I'm not gonna feel any type of way, man. If I wasn't in the right mental space and you came to me and you needed help, but I wasn't in the right mental space to give it, and I rejected it, and then something happened to you, I'm not gonna feel bad. Like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna feel bad at all, man, because I wasn't in the right mental space. Meaning, I didn't have anything to say to you that I felt like would have been of value to your circumstances. Just peace. What's happening? What's happening, Queen? And you say others' path are their own. You share the knowledge, stop the seed, and leave it be for sure. And like I say, even if you choose not to drop the knowledge, so be it. Again, like it is really not our responsibility. And it sounds like, again, oh, that's selfish, that's heartless. No, it's really not. It's really not at all. It's not heartless, it's not selfish. Even if you consider it selfish, I don't care. Because like I said, it's a lot of benefits to being selfish. But again, man, we don't know what everybody else is going through. And I really can't stand it when I see that type of stuff like on Facebook, on social media, period, where mugs be like, oh man, such and such was crying out for help. And it seemed like nobody cared or nobody was reaching out. It's like, man, for real, man, like people not in the business of being able to identify these things, nor do they know what to do and say. So if you got somebody on Facebook crying out for help, so to speak, man, how many of us are really experts in that field? How many of us know exactly what to say to that type of person? Not many of us. We don't know what to say. Like, how many of y'all know exactly what to say to somebody that's thinking about ending it all to prevent them from doing it? Man, we don't know what to say. Like, we not experts in dealing with that. So don't make a person feel, more guilty than they already gonna feel, man. So I be feeling like that's ridiculous, man, to put all that weight on family members or friends of a person on social media that you saw was status after status of so-called crime for help, man. People ain't experts. They ain't even got their own life in order. They don't even have their own mental in order. How they finna, you know what I'm saying, talk somebody off of jumping off the ledge, man, when they about to jump off? You know, so man, come on, man. Like that's ridiculous, man, to be expecting that of people, man. People they literally don't know what to say to these type of people, man. Again, we can all give the generic advice, you know, don't do that. You got people to live for, but that ain't enough for those people, man. They already know that's Captain Obvious. These people know that they have kids to live for. They know that they got family and friends that have reached out to them and told them that they already know these things, man. So it's gonna take a little bit more than that. And that little bit more, like, we not experts in that, man. We gotta go to work, we gotta tend to people, we gotta continue with our lives. So we can't just stop everything we doing to talk somebody off of jumping off the ledge, man. We gotta continue to feed ourselves and feed our families. You know, so again, man, like people get ridiculous when these situations pop off, man. Jeff, man, and I've seen people stress themselves into the ground. Seen it firsthand, literally into the ground. You know what I'm saying? Into the ground. Like, I've literally seen it. Clocks in, peace, what's happening? Jazz, what you say? Slightly related to the topic. What are your thoughts on anti-natalism? Ooh, basic. And I used to actually have that. I actually used to hold that perspective near and dear to my heart back in the day, Jazz. I honestly felt like it was the way the world was unfolding like 10 plus years ago. I was like, it's selfish to bring children into this world under these circumstances. I actually used to view that highly. Like, I used to live and swear by it. I felt like that was just ultimately selfish because of the way in which I felt the world was headed. Trust me, I used to have a very, what they would call, dark view of the world. You know, and it has slightly changed. But I used to be nihilistic and all of those type of things. So I honestly felt like that was very selfish to be bringing children into this world, considering the circumstances. Like, I just felt like a lot of that was selfish, and I felt like a lot of people were bringing children into existence under selfish reasons, you know, and they wasn't really considering what the children are going to have to experience and go through as they get older, considering how the world is unfolding. And I feel like that should be something that you factor in to the equation when you considering bringing children into the world. And a lot of people don't do that because they do these things for selfish reasons. They're not thinking about what the children are gonna have to experience because they're not looking that far down the line. You know, and I honestly used to feel that way. Like, are you thinking about what your children are gonna have to deal with at 15 versus what you dealt with at 15? The world is different. Are you looking into that? Are you looking at how the world is unfolding? The answer to that ultimately is no, because a lot of people are afraid to look into things like that. They don't want to see the direction that the world is headed because it's not something that's nice, honestly. You know, so a lot of people don't want to deal with that harsh reality. They want to live in fantasy land. They want to make it seem like everything gonna be all good. There's no way that you can promise that to a child. There's no way that you can promise that to yourself. So a lot of people are afraid to deal in reality, and they feel like you being pessimistic when you do it. You know, and that's why I don't have a lot of conversations with folks, because it's hard to be real. It's hard to be real. A lot of times realism gets associated with pessimism and negativity, when in reality, I'm just being real. I'm being realistic about the situation. You know, I'm being very realistic. I choose not to live in fantasy land. You know, yeah, I deal with affirmations and all that just like the next man, but there are certain things that I cannot control, no matter how many times I try to affirm things to the contrary. It's a big old world outside of me. And this world outside of me is filled with a lot of people and things that I can't control. You know what I'm saying? So again, the affirmations that I do, they revolve around me and how I move and what's going to happen to me in my life. But again, I can't control how other people move. I can't control what other people do and think. You know, so again, to think I can do that is stupid. So I never think that. You know, and a lot of people be living in this fantasy land, and I'm talking about thinking that they had this control to where they can actually control what goes on when they walk outside and how other people view them, how other people move. Man, this world is full of a lot of fools, man. This world is full of a lot of wickedness, man. A lot of wicked people, a lot of savage people. You think those people in those grocery stores, when the dude decided to shoot it up, you think those were some negative people? Those were like some overly negative people that where they woke up and didn't do no prayers or no affirmations and things like that, and they just so happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Same for the little babies at the school. You don't think the parents was praying for them and sending positive energy that way? But look what happened to them. Look what happened to them. So again, man, like this world is wicked, man. This world is crazy. That's why they tell you live in the present. Live in the present. Because man, you can't control a lot of what goes on, man, outside of you. So again, when you studying patterns and you see what's happening out here, man, again, those are things that you should consider, when bringing children into existence. And I don't think a lot of people consider these things, man. Just look at the way the world is unfolded. 10 plus years ago, a lot of things that's happening now, is a lot of these things we was talking about 10 plus years ago, especially like the gas prices, all of this, what they call inflation. Man, they've been talking about a virus popping off for the longest. The only thing that has yet to happen on our end that we have been prepping for is like a major earthquake. We didn't have smaller earthquakes, but it's a major earthquake that's supposed to be happening. And y'all done watched a lot of movies and y'all done seen these things unfold in the movies, man. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, a lot of these things have unfolded that we were talking about 10 plus years ago. And again, it was like a lot of people didn't want to entertain the information. They didn't want to entertain the sentiments and the thoughts and all of that good stuff because, again, they label it pessimism, which is in alignment with the subject matter for the day. A lot of people don't want to talk about death because they feel like, oh, that's negative. That's sad. That's depressing. But it's not. It's inevitable. It's something that's going to happen to us all. So why not learn how to master it? Why not learn how to perceive it better? Why not learn how to deal with it, accept it, embrace it? Why not learn how to look at it, break it down, decipher it? Why not? Why not? Sportman, peace, what's happening? Just for show. And I don't even care if it is selfish. Y'all know how I roll. Selfish is not negative, so y'all, I don't care if something is selfish, that's actually healthy for real. If something is selfish, then more than likely, again, selfish. You study nature. What is the first law? Self-preservation. That's selfishness. You know what I'm saying? So again, like being selfish can save your life and it can save some people around you. Francis, peace, what's happening? Magic, what you say? You can't force people to change. People got to make that change on their own. They have to be willing to make that step. 100%. 100%. And Francis, you say in some cases you can help people by not helping them at all. People can be very resilient, especially when they're told no. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And some people are not very resilient and they just looking for somebody to blame. So when you tell them no and they do something, now they just want to blame you. But it is what it is. Airview, yeah, I saw that. I definitely saw that. Antoinette, peace queen, what's happening? Son, man, peace, what's happening? Exactly. You learn how to master flesh. Death makes you immortal. Yeah. Definitely mastering the flesh for sure. Mastering the flesh and the mind, the mental as well as the physical. That's why I'm able to deal with death the way that I'm able to deal with it, or what we call, like I said, returning to the essence. It's really nothing negative about it at the end of the day. Life and death, like that's part of the yin and yang joint. Complements. You need both of them. You know what I'm saying? They need each other in order to exist. Without death, you don't have life. Without life, you don't have death. Vice versa. Like they need each other. They complement one another. Neither one of those joints are positive or negative. So again, we crying at death and things like that, man. But I feel like that's a time to celebrate the life of a person, man. Just celebrate life. They returning to the essence, man. They keeping the universe in motion. They keeping everything in motion. They keeping everything flowing. That's the way you look at it. Transformation of the energy. Again, returning to the essence is returning back into the universe, keeping everything moving, keeping everything keeping everything flowing. Terezo, my brother, appreciate that donation. Oh yeah, for sure with the Willy Wonka reference. For sure. TR Peace, what's happening? Son, exactly. Like the physical definitely deteriorates. And then, like I said, if you got a grandparent, they had children, then their children had you. That's them living on. Even if they didn't have children, then they passed down words, like they interacted with people, and the interactions that they had with individuals had an impression upon the individuals that they interacted with. That's again their energy being transformed, because you're gonna remember that person. You know, as long as that person interacted with people in the physical realm, then guess what? You got memories of that individual. Person ain't dying. Physically, they are, which again, nothing is wrong with that. Physically, the body deteriorates, it dies. Okay, that's supposed to happen. But then it's like mentally, that energy, it transforms. Again, man, they didn't have children, or they didn't have relationships with folks. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have encounters, interactions with people. They didn't wrote books. They didn't have YouTube videos. Like again, they left work behind for us. You know what I'm saying? They left seeds behind for us. So again, there you go. What they say, living vicariously through us, through the work that they left behind, man. This is what is happening. This is what's supposed to happen. That's why they tell you, man, figure out your purpose, discover your purpose, and make sure you live it out. Because this is how that's supposed to go. This is how it's supposed to go. You know, when you fulfill your purpose, man, when it's your time for the physical to boom, deteriorate, you fulfilled your purpose, man. You fulfilled your purpose, man. So you left a legacy behind. There you go. That's your energy being transferred, transformed. That's it. The work you left behind. So again, make sure you're doing your duty, man, as far as figuring out your purpose and fulfilling that purpose. You must do that. You must do it. It's very important, man. That's a very important aspect of life, making sure you fulfill your purpose. Very important aspect of life. And a lot of people, man, we get too caught up. Again, the problem that we have in these days is we getting too caught up in fulfilling everybody else's purpose or helping them fulfill their purpose, and we neglecting our own. So that's why a lot of people are going to their graves with a ton of regrets, you know, because they're not fulfilling their purpose. And that's a problem. You know, that's something that I don't like to see. Person on their deathbed, like, man, I was supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and I didn't do it. Like, nah, no, we too caught up in, again, helping everybody else fulfill their purpose. And this is specifically targeted to Black people. Yeah, and y'all know where I'm going with that. So I don't even need to further elaborate in regards to what I mean by that. Y'all already know what I mean. You know, we too busy helping other people fulfill their purpose, build their empires, build their legacies. We neglect our own. And then we get 60, 70, and we realize, dang, man, I spent the last 4 years of my life in helping these people build their legacy and their empire. Now I'm trying to rush and do things at 60 and 70. Now I'm trying to enjoy life at 60 and 70. Like, that's ridiculous, man. Like, that's a ridiculous way to live, man. We giving these people all our hard-earned blood, sweat, and tears. Then we get to like 60, 65, and we trying to kick back and enjoy life now. You know what I'm saying? Retire. And that's dead now. You know, in the future, like my age bracket, we not going to be able to do that. We going to have to, you know what I'm saying? If you caught up in corporate America with my age group, you going to pretty much have to work for corporate America until you drop. No more of this retiring at a certain age, and then, like, that's dead. Again, for the people that was looking into the future, seeing the trends, that's the way the world is headed if you caught up in that corporate matrix. The only way to truly be able to kick back these days is if you doing your own thing, times 5. And you got multiple streams of income coming. But if you trying to play the corporate game, man, you ain't working on no job and then working there for 30 years, 35 years, 20, 25 years, and then saying, okay, now I'm gonna retire and sit back and try to chill. That's no longer happening. That's no longer a reality. That may have been a reality, or that may be a reality for like my pops, like my parents' generation. But as far as us, that's not happening. That's not even realistic, actually, for most of us in my age bracket. You know, and it really should have never been a reality, actually. Again, like I said, think about it, man. You working that hard. And I told this story before, man. My manager at the first bank I worked at, he told me the story. He was like, man, the dude gave a company all his time. I mean, he was always working overtime. He was always at work. And he retired at like 60. And like a week after his retirement, he ended up having like a heart attack or something and died. So it's like this dude gave corporate America all his life. And then when it was time for him to enjoy life, he dies. Man, that's not a way. That's not a way to be living. So now at 60, you trying to fulfill your purpose, man. You trying to enjoy life and things like that. Man, come on, man. You know, we got this thing, we got life all wrong. That's not how life is supposed to work for us, man. Like, that's not how life is supposed to work. You done gave a company 40 plus years of your life. Then now, okay, now I'm about to sit back and try to semi enjoy some things. And now you pass. You don't even last a week. And you think them corporations care about you when you pass after you didn't retire? No. They don't care about you while you're working there. Let alone when you retired and then pass. Like, they don't care anything about any of that. So a lot of people are working themselves, and I'm talking about working for these other folks, working themselves into a grave, man. Like, this is actually happening. So again, that's why I say, man, you got to get up. You got to get up on your purpose. Don't be trying to get up on your purpose when you're 65 and 70, man. I ain't saying it's impossible to do it, but man, you don't want to be trying to work that hard to fulfill your purpose at that age, man. You want to be years in at that point. You don't want to be 65 and 70 talking about, okay, now I'm going to try to fulfill this purpose that I should have been fulfilling at 30, at 35. Like, we got this thing all backwards, man. And that's why we have a lot of suffering. That's why we have a lot of, mental illnesses and things like that. That's why depression is high. Like, this is why this is why the world is the way that it is, man. People are working themselves into a coma for corporations and businesses that don't even care about you, whole while neglecting what it is that they actually need to be doing. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say most people are working in jobs that have nothing to do with their actual purpose in life. They have forced themselves to accept being okay with just having a job, but it's not in alignment with what they know they need to be doing. And I feel like that's an actual fact. A lot of people have just forced themselves to just accept, oh, okay, well, I'm lucky to have a job, but it's not in alignment with what they know they need to be doing. Seriously. Most people do not really care for what they are doing. They just doing what they feel like they have to do because they got to feed their children, they got to feed themselves, and they don't know a other way. They don't know the process to do it another way. But that's the mindset that most people have embraced. Like, man, I'm just doing what I got to do to put food on the table. And they think any other way to go about it is irrational or ignorant, you know. But again, that's just lack of knowledge, man. At the end of the day, if you doing your own thing, listen, we don't want to starve out here. We don't want to see our children starve. So if you go out on a limb and have to do your own thing, guess what? You're gonna do what you need to do. You're gonna find a way because you don't want to starve and you don't want to see your people starve. So have a little more confidence in yourself, man. Like, I done seen people come at me negatively when I talk about entrepreneurship and they start talking about why they can't quit their jobs and things like that because they got kids and stuff like that, man. Like, as if there are not people with kids that have done exactly what most people are saying. You act like we don't have people with kids that have quit their jobs on a whim and went out and did their own thing. And they never regret it either. So stop with the excuses and definitely don't use your kids as an excuse. Get the information, get the know-how, go do your own thing. You're going to thank me later. because again, that's where the world is headed. In a minute, you're not gonna have many options, many other options. Doing your own thing is gonna be option number one in a minute. It's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be. If you truly trying to just elevate in life and succeed in life, doing your own thing is gonna be a must. Like I said, times like 4 or 5. So it's real in the field, man. I don't like when I'm seeing my people, man, work themselves into a grave, eat themselves into a grave, think themselves into a grave, and this is what's happening a lot. This is what's happening to a lot of my people. And again, we got to stop that. So we got to change our working conditions. So if you unhappy at your job, do whatever. Like come up with your exit plan right now, ASAP, and put it into motion. Like straight up. If you are unhappy with your current situation, create an exit plan today, right now, today. Like nothing is stopping you from creating that exit plan. Create that joint right now, today, and get on it. Put it into motion. What are you waiting on? If you eating in a way that's not conducive to your overall health and well-being, make some gradual changes right now. If you know you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, start right now. Eat you a cup. Eat you a cup more than you've already been eating. Drink you a little bit more water than you've been drinking. Exercise. Add another day. Something. Just do something that you haven't been doing. Life is really simple, man. We got to stop making everything so complicated. And really overthinking. Stop that. Stop that. 99% of the time, they tell you how we operate. They tell you that we are driven by the unconscious. We are driven by these gut decisions. And they tell you most of the time those gut decisions be right and exact. So again, stop overthinking it. When you face with a decision and you instantly come up with that response, that gut response, that gut feeling, roll with it, man. Roll with it. Roll with it. Stop overthinking this process. Roll with it. It's like, all right, boom, I need to do this. Do it. The moment you start thinking about that decision, now you about to talk yourself out of it, and you about to hit yourself about 10 more scenarios. And now you have made this situation way more complicated than it needed to be. Stop doing that. Again, that gut, that initial response, I'm telling you, 99% of the time it's the right one. It's the right one. Even if things don't go accordingly, it still was the right decision. Because guess what? Now you about to extract some lessons from it. So again, just go with it, man. Just go with it, man. Stop overthinking it. Stop saying, okay, man, I'm finna weigh all the pros. Listen, just do it. If it's in your gut, if it's feeling right, do it. Go with it. Roll with it. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? It don't go how you want it to go, and now you got to learn from it. Oh wow, that don't sound too bad. That don't sound too bad to me. Oh, okay, the worst that can happen is this don't go accordingly, and I'm gonna have to learn something from it. That sounds valuable to me. Sportman, yeah, for sure. Without trying, you will never know. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't even try. But yet they have a lot to say about it, though. They have a lot to say about things they have never tried to do. Overthinking. You know what I'm saying? We overthinking. You got a lot to say about something you've never did. You've never done, but you got a lot to say about it. What are you even saying? If you haven't experimented with something, then why do you have an opinion on it? What are you talking about? Just do it. Do it and come back to me after you have experimented with it. Like that's how you do that, man. But most people, man, they got a lot to say about stuff they have never experimented with. And that's always funny to me. They got a lot to say about when it comes to nutrition, they got a lot to say about diets or lifestyles that they have never experimented with and why you shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. I'm like, have you ever done X, Y, and Z? They be like, no. So I'm like, why would I value what you have to say about it? They got a lot to say about things they have not experimented with. That's always funny. Real humble. Yep, for sure. Sportman, get to it. Like, get to it. You know what I'm saying? What they say, the time is always now. The time is always now. The time is now. Put it into motion. Again, trial and error. You're going to figure everything out. Again, it ain't going to be perfect or whatever that means. You know what I'm saying? The time is always now to put something into motion. Because let's be real. You can't guarantee that we can't guarantee that we're going to be here a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. So what we wait at the end of the day, what are you really waiting on? Whatever you thinking about doing, man, the time is right. The time is now. The best time to do it is always now. The best time to put things into motion is always right now. You should be doing something every day that's propelling you closer to that goal or whatever the case may be, what they call the process. So the time is always now to be implementing the steps, embracing the process. The time is always now, man. But again, procrastination gets the best of us. Procrastination gets the best of us, but the time is always now, man. We gotta stop hesitating. We gotta stop procrastinating. We gotta stop overthinking. Gotta start doing. Gotta start being. It's really that simple. Again, we overcomplicating it by thinking too much, and that's our downfall. Overthinking, thinking too much. It's killing us. It's killing us, man. The more time you give yourself to think, I'm telling you, more likely you are to not do anything. And that's the way we operate. Like they say, the unconscious, it controls the conscious. We driven by the unconscious. So again, let that unconscious guide you, man. Let that unconscious do what it's supposed to do. Trust me. When you plant the proper seeds, that subconscious, the unconscious, whatever you want to refer to it as, it's gonna take care of you. Once you plant the proper seeds, it's gonna take care of you. So again, plant the proper seeds and let the unconscious do what it's gonna do. You know, so when you plant the proper seeds, man, the unconscious is going to, like, again, that's that gut feeling. That's that unconscious. That's that subconscious. You didn't plant the proper seeds, it's going to let you know, okay, yeah, this is what we need to do. Yeah, this is what we need to do. The subconscious, it doesn't like think too much. That's why it's called the unconscious. You know, it doesn't like to do all of that thinking. That's the conscious mind. That's the mind that gets us in trouble. The unconscious likes to be automatic with it. So again, when you plant the proper seeds, you got to let that unconscious do what it do, and that's be automatic. So it's like, boom, I planted the proper seeds, and now you came across an opportunity. That unconscious, like, automatically do that. We start consciously intervening with that, like, nah, I'm not going to do that. This is why. Don't do that. The unconscious already told you. Boom, that's a sign. Get on it. Because that's how the subconscious works. It's like, all right, cool, that's what we need. Let's go. It's that simple. When that subconscious, when that gut and that subconscious, when it tells you that, get on it. That's why you feel that way. That's why you feel so strong. That's why you feel like, dang, I need to do this. Because the subconscious is like, yeah, that's it. We don't even need to think about this. We don't want to think about this, because if we think about it, we're not going to do it. Hurt, peace, what's happening? So again, plant the proper seeds and let the subconscious do what it does, man. The subconscious will not stir you in the wrong direction when you have planted the proper seeds. When they say things like make your money work for you, this is what you have to do with your mind. You got to make the subconscious mind work for you. That's what you must do by planting the proper seeds. Make the subconscious mind work for you. So we got to work smarter, not harder. So we got to make it to where it's like we automatically are making the right decisions. And the way to do that is to program that subconscious, man, by planting the proper seeds. Really that simple. So make the mind work for you, where you don't have to put too much thought into everything. Like, seriously, we put too much thought into everything, and that's a problem. That's why we be so drained. We don't have energy because we overthink everything. Stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? You know how you're supposed to be eating. Let the subconscious guide you, man. Let the subconscious steer you in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? You know what type of job you need to be doing right now. You know what type of career field you need to be in. Let the subconscious guide you in that direction. That's basically you guiding you in that right direction. Stop being stubborn. Listen to yourself. Adam, peace. What's happening? Magic, yep, for sure. And you say I've been feeling what you have been saying, action, and then readjust. Valuable conversations, man. Where have you learned or who has impacted you to find purpose? Keep it up. Honestly, I say it all the time. I'm a student of life, so I've learned from just any and everything. I'm always reading, so I can point to a lot of different books just from analyzing people in the physical, just life, man. I learned from some animals, you know what I'm saying? So I learned from life, man. I'm a student of life, and then just studying myself and having conversations with myself. That's how I really discovered my purpose and created my purpose, asking myself questions, tapping in with myself. So that's really how I came across my purpose, man. Just asking myself questions and doing what felt right. If it felt right, then I'm like, all right, cool. Let me go ahead and tackle that. So it's learning from anything, man, and everything. I can take a jewel from any and everybody. Anything and everything, I can take a jewel from it. And I try to do that. Like I said, man, I'll watch some animals, man. I'm like, let me tap into what they doing. Let me tap into how these animals move. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what these alligators on. I might learn something from these alligators. Hey, and fact of the matter is, a lot of what I'm talking about, you can apply to an alligator. You know what I'm saying? Like a alligator, man, for real, alligators ain't trying to overthink. You know what I'm saying? Alligators, man, they when you study an alligator, like they move like subconsciously for the most part. They not putting too much thought into what they doing. They not putting too much thought in what they doing. They like, okay, this right here is threatening me, so I'm about to kill it. This right here isn't threatening me, so I'm finna ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Simple. When that alligator feels threatened, they automatically like, all right, we killing this. We eating this. Feel like this is a threat, so we gonna kill it. We gonna attack it. It's automatic. They not finna hesitate. You know what I'm saying? Like alligator ain't about to hesitate. If that alligator feels threatened, that alligator ain't hesitate. Well, this a threat. Kill it. Like when you study the animals in nature, like, man, you can't be hesitating, man. You cannot be hesitate. That's one thing you learn from these animals. You cannot hesitate. Attack. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you gotta look at life and things in life, man. Don't hesitate. Attack them joints. Sportman, you say you don't let nobody stop you. How you feel about that? As far as people stopping me when it comes to fulfilling my purpose, man, when it comes to that, man, like I said, man, I don't, the way other people move and the things they do, that's outside of my realm of control. So I don't put too much stake in what people do, what people think, how they perceive me, any of that. Like I don't put too much stake into that. I used to, but that was very unhealthy. That leads to high blood pressure and things like that, man. I'm all about living. I'm trying to live my life to the fullest extent. So anything that's not contributing to me living my life to the fullest, I'm not dealing with it. Like I'm not dealing with it at all. Like I'm gonna give y'all an example, like Facebook. I used to be one of the ones I would go back and forth with anybody that disagreed with what I said. I was going back and forth. I'm gonna get all the facts out on the tape. Then I just one day just realized that was stupid. And now, man, when people be saying things I don't like, or if they disagreeing with me, I may or may not address it. 95% of the time, I'm not gonna address it. It depends on what's being said for the other 5%. But man, for the most part, man, I'm cooling, man. I'm fulfilling this purpose, and that's it. Like tunnel vision, man. I'm really not concerned with anybody that's trying to like cause me to deviate from that. I ain't dealing with it. Jazz, you say you got 3 different potential job opportunities lined up, but none of them feel aligned. Then I wouldn't even fool with any of them. Again, hey, unpopular advice. Somebody else would be like, hey, just take the one that's paying the most. Woo woo. Nope. I'm all about doing what feels right. What'll bring you the most peace. That's what it's all about, man. When you doing something that's bringing you peace, there's no way that you could possibly fail with that, man. Like you gonna be, I mean, your health is gonna skyrocket. You just gonna be feeling better about life, you know. So if none of those things feel aligned, then nah, don't do it. Akuma, peace. The good kid, peace. Nothing set in stone, peace. You say, what did I say about death? Oh yeah, man. For about the first 20 minutes, man, I was talking about death. And basically when it comes to like your elders and things along those lines, man, it's like the way life is supposed to go. We supposed to outlive those that are older than us. So when your elders and things like that start to pass, and you just evaluate their lives, and if they have raised their children properly, you know what I'm saying, and their children have had children, they raising them properly. That's the legacy. The legacy continues. So that's nothing to really mourn. That's something to celebrate. You know. And again, we're speaking about death, man. That's like not the end, because we know one thing about energy, man. It transforms. You know. So again, while the physical deteriorates, their energy has been passed down via the seeds, via the work that they left behind. You know, they wrote books, they was on YouTube, or they had interactions with people. And with those interactions, they made impressions on these people. And those impressions led to memories. So that's energy that's being transformed. So again, the physical has passed, the physical has deteriorated and returned to the essence. But like all of the memories, that type of energy has transformed and was passed down. And that's how they continue to live on. So that's something to celebrate. And again, like I said, if you one of the youngest, then you supposed to be outliving these folks. So you got to learn how to detach from the physical presence of an individual. Miss Naya, peace, what's happening? Nothing set in stone. You say, what about untimely death? At the end of the day, I view it all the same. That's one thing that's inevitable. Even if something happens in that untimely fashion, when you look at the reason why people feel sad, it all boils down to being attached to the physical presence of a person. If a person dies an untimely death, you still should have those memories. You know what I'm saying? You still should have those experiences with those people. Focus on that, embrace that. You know, the physical just deteriorated. They had an impact on you, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So they still there, energetically speaking. You know, again, the only reason we feel some type of way is because we attach to the physical presence. We are attached to the physical. You know, when you learn how to detach from that physical presence, then you are able to better cope with somebody dying, whether it's untimely or whether they knew they was gonna go and they died the way that they wanted to. You know, so again, you overly attach to that physical presence. You got to learn how to detach from that physical presence and learn that energetically speaking, again, they still there. Like energetically speaking, you know, again, I ain't even talking about spirits and things like that, but if that's the word you want to use, cool. But energetically speaking, like I said, they had an impact on you. With that impact came memories. You know what I'm saying? And if they left behind seeds, cool. But I know they had interactions. I know they had encounters with folks. Focus on that. Focus on that. But again, it all boils down to just being attached to the physical presence, and that's why you feel sad, depressed, and you know what I'm saying, things like that when the physical passes, because that's what you were attached to, that physical presence of that person. You know, so at the end of the day, man, you know, we don't know when our time will happen. So I feel like really all deaths essentially could be considered untimely because we just never know. You know what I'm saying? We never know. That's not something that we could really set in stone and say, okay, cool. Yeah, we, you know what I'm saying? This is when we're going to pass. Like, really, none of us ever know. Even if you live to be old age, like, you still really never know the actual date of this going to happen. You could feel like any day now, any moment now, but you don't know the exact time, you know? So at the end of the day, it all boils down to the same thing, just being attached to that physical presence, you know? And that's one thing we got to learn and master, man, just detaching from the physical presence. That's it. And it ain't nothing heartless about that. It ain't nothing cold hearted about that. Again, when you embrace that concept of life, man, it's gonna help you. Hey, it's gonna help you live, man. It's gonna help you live. It's gonna help you elevate. It's gonna help you evolve as a person. Like straight up, you know. Because again, like I said, I know we done all lost loved ones. I know we done been there, done that. And like I said, I feel like I'm one of the ones that I deal with it a lot better than most. I don't cry at funerals. I can't tell you last time I shed tears at a funeral. And I have went to a lot of funerals lately, and a lot of these funerals were people who I grew up with, who took care of me. Sometimes when I was little, things like that, and I haven't shed tears at any of them, because of the way that I view the situation, the way that I view death. Now, I'm not saying if you shed tears, then you're weak and something is wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, I don't do anything like that because, again, I focus on the best parts. I settle on the best part. What they say, we keep the best part preserved for ourselves, and that's what I tend to do. That's how I tend to view everything. So I'm not necessarily sad when a person passes. I'm like not saying I'm necessarily happy that they are no longer here physically, but I'm definitely not sad for the most part. I'm never sad when it comes to that. Like it's not really something that's saddening to me. I don't know. Like when I'm at a funeral, man, I don't really necessarily feel sad. Like it's messed up when you start seeing other family members, crying and dealing with it that way because you kind of wish they could see it the way that you see it. But like that's about it for me though. I'm understanding the cycle of how all of this happens, man. Especially like I said, if it's people that's older than me, essentially we suppose I'll live them. Long when I examine their lives, if I feel like they lived their life to the fullest, the way that they wanted to live it, cool. And even if they didn't, it's like at the end of the day, it is what it is. We got to keep on living for their sake and ours. Because like I said, I've watched that. I've watched that destroy people. People not being able to cope with the death of a loved one, and it ends in their death. And that's not good. Like that's not it's not a cool way to what I'm saying. It's not a cool way to go. Like no way is really a cool way to go, but that's definitely not it. When you done been so dependent upon a person mentally and physically that when they no longer here anymore physically, now you not too long, but you know what I'm saying, you're not too far behind them. That's not a good way to end up. And like I said, I've watched a lot of people go out like that. But y'all, man, with that being said, man, I gotta make some moves, man. I gotta get my mind right before I head back up to this gym for the second part of my day. Like I say, I'm back from Mississippi. I had to spend the weekend there in Mississippi, man. So y'all know how that go. I had to go down south, go back to the roots. Nice little situation, man. It was nice to see all my folks. Nice to, what I'm saying, the country living for a little minute, man. It's always different from the city living. So it was all good, man. But I gotta tap out for this Tuesday. Probably try to tap in again with y'all tomorrow, depending on how the day flows. It is what it is. We dealing with the last day of this month of May. Again, man, time flies. Time waits for no man. Time waits for no woman, man. So you got to make sure you tackle these goals, man. You do not want to be on your deathbed regretting your life. Don't want to do it. The time is always now to pursue your passion, to pursue your purpose, to accomplish goals, man. Remember that. The time is always now. But y'all, man, I'm gonna tap out, man. I appreciate the donation, man. Appreciate all the love, all the comments. It's always peace. Y'all be easy. Enjoy the rest of y'all Tuesday, and I'm gonna tap in again with y'all tomorrow. If not tomorrow, most definitely Thursday. But I'm out, y'all. Peace.